Hello, English learners. It's Sophia here, and I'm happy to have your company today. This is Softly Spoken English, the podcast that teaches you English the way people actually speak it. Here's a small sentence that sounds almost right, but not quite. I need to do a decision. Something about that feels a little off, doesn't it? In English, we don't do decisions, we make them, and that one small verb choice changes the whole feel of the sentence. Today, we're exploring one of the busiest little verbs in the language, make. Make shows up everywhere: decisions, mistakes, money, plans, promises, even messes. Honestly, it's one of those words that native speakers use constantly, almost without noticing, and today we're going to notice it together, properly. By the end of this episode, you'll have a whole collection of natural make phrases ready to use. Let's start with the mind, because so many make phrases live there. Make a decision. Make up your mind. Make a choice. All three describe the same basic idea, choosing between options, but they're used slightly differently depending on the moment. I need to make a decision by Friday sounds formal, almost professional. I can't make up my mind sounds more personal, more emotional, like you're genuinely torn between two things. Notice, make up your mind always uses up, never make your mind. Let's practice this. Think of something you're currently undecided about, even something small, like what to have for dinner tonight. Try a sentence with make up my mind. A model answer: honestly, I still can't make up my mind about what to cook tonight. Now let's move to communication, because make appears constantly here too. Make a comment, make a suggestion, make a promise, make an excuse, make a point. Each one describes a different kind of speaking, but they all share that same verb. She made a really good point in the meeting means she said something insightful. He's always making excuses means he avoids responsibility, repeatedly and honestly. That phrase carries a little judgment built right into it. Make a promise carries real weight, too. I made a promise to call my parents every Sunday, and I actually keep it. Notice, promises get made and kept, or made and broken, but always made, never done, no matter which language you're translating from in your head. Here's a short scene from a team meeting. Colleague 1, can I make a quick suggestion before we finish? Colleague 2, of course, go ahead. Colleague 1, I think we should make a decision on this by tomorrow, not next week. Colleague 2, fair point. Let's make that happen. I quite like that exchange. 4 make phrases in under 20 seconds. And none of them sound repetitive, because each one is doing a slightly different job. Let's move to effort and progress now, another huge cluster of make phrases. Make an effort, make progress, make a difference, make it, meaning to succeed or arrive somewhere in time. I'm really trying to make an effort with my English this year. Sounds committed, intentional. We're finally making progress on this project. Sounds hopeful, like things are moving forward after being stuck. This small change could make a real difference. Sounds meaningful, impactful. Here's that other one, make it. I don't think I'm going to make it to the meeting on time. Completely different meaning here, arriving somewhere or succeeding at something. She really made it in her career means she became genuinely successful, often after years of hard work. Here's a quick scene using that one. Friend 1, Are you still coming tonight? Friend 2. I'll try, but traffic's bad. I might not make it before 8. Friend 1. No worries, just let me know if you can't make it at all. Notice how relaxed that sounds. Nobody's upset. It's just normal, everyday planning. Try your own sentence with make it, describing something you're hoping to arrive at or achieve soon. Let's practice this pair. Think of a goal you're currently working toward, even a small one. Try a sentence with make progress. Something like, I'm slowly making progress with my English, even if it doesn't always feel that way. Now try make an effort, describing something you're intentionally trying harder at lately. A model answer, I've been making more of an effort to speak English out loud, even just talking to myself at home. Here's one more idiom worth knowing, a slightly dramatic one. Make a scene, meaning to cause an embarrassing emotional display in public. He made a huge scene at the restaurant over a wrong order. It's almost always used a little disapprovingly, describing behavior that was, honestly, a bit much. And the opposite kind of energy, make peace with something, which doesn't always mean resolving an argument. It can also mean accepting a situation you can't change. I've finally made peace with working from home permanently. That's a lovely little extension of the phrase we already covered. Let's talk about money and mess now, because these two show up constantly in everyday conversation. Make money, obviously earning it, but also make a mess, creating chaos, literally or figuratively, and make a mistake, which honestly everyone does, constantly, in every language. I'll admit, make a mess is one I hear from myself more often than I'd like, whether it's the kitchen or just a complicated week of plans. It's a wonderfully flexible little phrase. It works for spilled coffee and for messy situations just as easily. And honestly, both happen more often than we'd like to admit. 2 more money phrases worth knowing. Make ends meet, meaning to have just enough money to cover your basic needs, nothing extra. It's been hard to make ends meet since prices went up. And make a living, meaning to earn enough money through your work to support yourself, doing whatever that work happens to be. She makes a living as a freelance photographer. Neither of these sounds dramatic. They're just honest, everyday ways people talk about money without getting too specific about numbers. And on a lighter note, there's make a wish, which most of us learn as children, blowing out candles. But it works for any hopeful moment, not just birthdays. Let's practice this pair. Think of someone you know, or even yourself, who's had to make ends meet during a difficult time. Try a sentence describing it. A model answer. A lot of people had to find creative ways to make ends meet during those tougher years. Now try one with make a living, describing a job, yours or someone else's, in a slightly unusual or interesting way. Here's a mistake worth mentioning directly, and it's incredibly common, probably the single most common make mistake of all. Many learners say, do a mistake, using do instead of make. It's a completely understandable mix-up, because in a lot of languages, that verb translates as do. In English, though, it's always make a mistake. Here's the reverse trap, too. We say make a mistake, but do your homework, not make your homework. There isn't a clean logical rule here. Honestly, it's mostly about which activities are treated as creating something, make, versus performing a task, do. If you want a rough anchor, though, here's one that helps more often than not. Make tends to go with things you produce or bring into existence, a decision, a mess, a mistake, money. Do tends to go with activities or tasks you simply carry out. Homework, chores, exercise, a favor. It's not perfect. English rarely is, but it's a genuinely useful starting instinct. Let's try a quick round, out loud. I accidentally ajdraw a huge mess in the kitchen. If you said made, perfect. Can you please carry on your homework before dinner? If you said do, exactly right. Homework is a task, not something you create from nothing. One more, slightly trickier. She's determined to earn a lot of money by the time she's 30. If you said make, that's correct. Money gets made, not done. Notice, the pattern isn't really about logic. It's about which verb simply attached itself to which noun over centuries of use. Let's add two more, a little faster. Could you ask me a favor and grab some milk on your way home? If you said do, that's right. We do someone a favor, not make one. And I really need to a good impression at this interview. If you said make, perfect. Impressions are made, never done. Let's move to some more idiomatic ones now. Phrases that don't translate literally at all. Make sense, meaning something is logical or understandable. That explanation finally makes sense to me. Make room, meaning create space, physically or in your schedule. Can you make room for one more person at the table? Here's a small example combining both. Once she explained her schedule, it made sense why she never has time. She barely makes room for anything besides work. Notice how naturally these two sit next to each other. Even though one's about logic and the other's about space, they blend together perfectly in real speech. Make time, meaning to prioritize something in a busy schedule. I always try to make time for reading, even on busy days. And make peace, meaning to resolve a conflict, sometimes literally between countries, but often just between two people who've been arguing over something small. Let's practice this cluster. Think of something in your week that you always struggle to make time for. I always try to make time for reading, even on busy days. And make peace, meaning to resolve a conflict, sometimes literally between countries, but often just between two people who've been arguing over something small. Let's practice this cluster. Think of something in your week that you always struggle to make time for. Try a sentence with make time. A model answer: I really need to make time for exercise, but it always ends up last on my list. Now try one with make sense, explaining something that finally clicked for you recently, maybe something about English itself. Here's a short personal scene: two siblings after an argument. Sibling 1. I think it's time we made peace about this, don't you? Sibling 2. Honestly, yes. I've been trying to make time to call you all week. I just didn't know how to start. Sibling 1. Well, you just did. That's such a small, quietly warm little exchange, isn't it? Two make phrases, and suddenly it's not about grammar anymore. It's about two people actually talking. Let's move to a group that's incredibly practical, organizing and arranging things. Make an appointment, make arrangements, make a phone call, make a copy. These come up constantly in everyday, ordinary tasks. I need to make an appointment with the dentist this week. Can you make a copy of this document before the meeting? Notice, none of these are emotional or dramatic. They're just the small administrative actions that fill an ordinary day, and make handles almost all of them. Here's a short scene at an office reception. Person 1. Could you make 3 copies of this for the meeting? Person 2. Of course. Should I also make the arrangements for lunch afterward? Person 1. Yes, please. And can you make that phone call to confirm the room booking too? Honestly, that little exchange is basically a whole morning's worth of tasks, and every single one uses make. It's genuinely one of the most useful verbs you could master for office or admin situations. Let's add one more idiom, because it's genuinely everywhere in casual conversation. Make friends. It took her a while to make friends after moving to a new city. Notice, make friends, plural, always. You don't make a friend in quite the same natural way, though it's technically possible. Here's one more scene, this time about a bigger life change, moving to a new city. Person 1. How's the move going? Are you settling in? Person 2. Slowly. I'm trying to make friends at work, and I finally made an appointment to sort out my new address with the bank. Person 1. That's real progress. Are you making peace with the change yet? Person 2. Getting there. It's taken an effort, but I think I'm finally starting to make this place feel like home. That's such a genuine, grounded way to describe a big transition, 4 or 5 make phrases, and it never once sounds like a grammar exercise. Let's try a spot the mistake round now. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to catch what's wrong before I explain it. Ready? I need to do a decision about the apartment soon. Did you catch it? It should be make a decision. Decisions get made, not done. Here's another one. He's always making his homework at the last minute. That one's the reverse mistake. It should be doing his homework. Homework is a task you perform, not something you create. One more, a little trickier. This app really did a difference in how I study. That should be made a difference, since we're talking about impact, something created, not a task completed. Small word, but it completely changes how natural the sentence sounds. Let's try one last one. Can you do me a suggestion for a good restaurant nearby? That should be make a suggestion. Suggestions get made, just like comments and promises. Notice, once you start hearing these mistakes, they get easier and easier to catch. Let's put a few of today's phrases together now, the way you might actually use them in one real conversation, all at once, without stopping to think about the grammar behind them. Imagine catching up with a friend about work. Honestly, I've been trying to make an effort at my job lately. I finally made a decision to ask for more responsibility, and I think it's starting to make a difference. My manager even made a comment about how much progress I've made this year, which felt really good to hear. Notice how naturally these phrases stack together. Nobody stops to think, am I using make correctly here? It just flows. That's really the whole point of today. Make isn't a rule to memorize. It's a rhythm you absorb, one phrase at a time, until it stops feeling like grammar altogether. Let's do a short recap. Make for decisions, choices, and changing your mind. Make for communication, comments, suggestions, promises, and excuses. Make for effort, progress, and difference. Make for money, mistakes, ends meet, and a living, but do for homework and tasks. And make for sense, room, time, peace, friends, and even a wish. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick 3 make phrases from today and try using all 3 in one real conversation, even a short one. Notice how often the opportunity comes up, honestly, probably more than you'd expect. Here's something else you can do this week, besides the exercises. Make is one of those verbs that shows up in almost every English conversation, interviews, small talk, workplace chats. Next time you're listening to something in English, count how many make phrases you catch in just a few minutes. You might be surprised. Now it's your turn. Answer these questions in English using your own words and share one of them in the comments if you'd like. Take your time with each one. There's no single right answer here, just your own honest week. First, think of a decision you need to make soon, big or small. Describe it using make a decision or make up my mind. Second, is there something you've been trying to make more of an effort with lately? Describe it using make an effort. Third, think of a mistake you've made recently. Nothing serious, just something small and human. Describe it using make a mistake. Which one of today's make phrases do you think you'll actually use this week? And which one had you been getting slightly wrong before today, if any? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which one sticks and which one surprised you most. See you in the next episode.